Basically, as a software company, you can just sit in your basement, you program and you create a company. That's it. But as a hardware company, you have to talk to so many different suppliers. You need to leave your basement and you need to find a manufacturer, you need to find suppliers, you need to find retailers, distributors. It's very challenging. You have suddenly you need to finance orders in hundreds of thousands of dollars and also have this whole finance aspect. You have the whole hardware aspect to it, which you don't have with software. And you have basically everything you have to do as a software startup too.
So my name is McLaughing. I'm one of the co-founders of Brinc. Brinc is an IoT platform. We're here in Hong Kong, Shenzhen, and Guangzhou, China to support early stage IoT entrepreneurs.
My name is Antoine. I'm the CEO of Kello. Kello is the only alarm clock you want to wake up with.
My name is Hwang. I'm co-founder of Heartisans. We're a healthcare technology startup and we're currently building a medical quality heart health wearable and it's designed to save lives.
My name is Florian Simmendinger. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Soundbrenner. And Soundbrenner builds the world's first wearable device for musicians.
I am Paul Lee. I was born and raised in Hong Kong, and I went to school in the US, and I subsequently worked in Silicon Valley for over a decade, and I'm back in Hong Kong.
I need a minute to think about it.
We really do believe that this deserves to exist, and you can do it with the right partners and the right resources. Here at Brinc, we accelerate very quickly. We have our first 2 teams actually delivering just over 12 months after we started working with them. So it is possible, and I don't want people out there thinking, oh my god, it's so hard, I can't do this, should I even start? If you're the right type of founder and hardware excites you, then you should start. And it's totally possible, and it's only getting easier every single day, and we'd love to help if we can.
All the team, we've all done a little bit of software development. We work in software companies, so we know quite a bit about software, but we didn't know much about hardware. Hardware is a very difficult business for a variety of reasons. You need a lot of skills. It's also hard to manufacture in China or everywhere. It's also hard to distribute, and that is why we actually moved to Hong Kong, because this is where hardware happens, especially in Shenzhen. So being a software background and being helped by Brinc on the hardware makes it easier. I believe the most difficult point in hardware is that you work with a lot of vendors that you have to coordinate, whether it is industrial design, electrical engineering, distribution, mechanical design. What else do you have? You have audio manufacturers, audio design for us, plastic factories, electronic stuff. It's a lot of things. Where in software, you just take a few developers, a little bit of marketing, and you distribute that through an app store, and that's finished.
I guess software is one thing where you can build up a Facebook empire, hopefully with the right backing and all that. But if you do hardware, you almost always have to have some software and Internet of Things and quantified self components, because hardware, especially in China, is pretty easy to reproduce, to copy what you have, and the margin goes down to nothing in a very short time. So the only real way to really retain any stickiness to your product is to make it quantified for each individual. We quantify your hearing profile. So in the future, when this is a common thing, all the devices around you, the car, the speaker, the refrigerator, the TV, they would have to work with me, Aumeo, to make sure that Yvonne, you, as you move around the room, all the devices will play specifically for you because they all know your profile from us. So that is how we maintain the stickiness and relevance of our solution.
For us, the challenge as a consumer IoT / medical device company is that when we build an algorithm, we've got to test it in a clinical setting, but we're also a software company with hardware elements as well. So all those elements, I think, is what makes what we are doing tricky. But I think what pushes us forward is why we are doing it.
It's pretty much insane to start a hardware startup. It's a lot of work, but it's also a lot of fun, because what we're building is actually brought into real life. You know, we have an idea, and now I'm holding it into my hands. So I wouldn't want to do anything different. I love it.
I think Hong Kong has a lot of unique advantages. For example, like I mentioned, setting up a business here is very easy and it's not that expensive. The tax structure is not complex for people that are looking to become entrepreneurs here. I also think that in order for us, as we scale, we're going to have to fill our knowledge gaps, and bringing in awesome talent from overseas, like the US, from Silicon Valley, or various other markets. People want to come to Hong Kong and Singapore as another competing city, as opposed to, you know, where I'm from, where Seoul, or if we're talking about Tokyo or various other places that we could have based off if we wanted to. That would be more challenging. So Hong Kong has those advantages. Also, we're close to Shenzhen. So for a company that's also building hardware and prototyping, being close to Shenzhen, you know, we can literally go on the day, helps us a lot. So
the world is becoming smaller than ever before, and I see that the best startups that we invest in, they're from other places and Hong Kong, but they get the most work done here. So our teams that are getting to the finish line faster, they're tipping into profitability, they're shipping, it's because they stay here. The teams that go back and forth, they have longer timelines. They'll still get there, but it does slow them down. So we really do believe that being near your manufacturing, being near your partners for logistics and finance and trade and your intellectual property and all those things that you need, you should go to where that is. And that could be places like Boston has some, Mexico has some, Montreal has some. So it's not just here, and it's not right for everyone, but for a certain type of, you know, especially consumer high volume IoT type products, I think it's a no-brainer to be here.
We actually funded the company in Paris and we moved in Hong Kong like 4 months ago, and it's actually a very different atmosphere. Hong Kong goes fast. Hong Kong I mean, the weather is very different, and there are not as much as ecosystem that we used to have, but we feel that this is something that is happening right now.
I would say that, you know, Hong Kong is a good place to start for hardware startups, especially because you have access to China, which is the manufacturing factory of the world, and you still have access to the rest of the world, you know, for crowdfunding with the good legal systems and all that. The difficulty, though, is fundraising, I would say, because Hong Kong's investors, there's a lot of money in Hong Kong, there's no shortage of that. The problem is all these people made their monies by probably investing in stocks or real estate, which is much easier to understand and much more transparent, I guess, than any obscure startup. I mean, if I have $2 million, for example, would I invest in just buy an apartment across the street and get rent and it naturally raises 50% every year? Or would I invest in Paul, who I've never met, and his business idea, and I have to worry about competition, worry about his integrity, his execution. So you can kind of see that it's hard for people who are used to making their wealth in a kind of more transparent way than doing something that they don't understand.
This particular geographic region, I think, will have unbelievable impact on the global technology scene in the next 10 years. It's not going to be small, it will be massive. And I really do believe, at least personally, what I saw being in San Francisco for almost 10 years and now being here, is that there'll be a very beautiful marriage between the Silicon Valley area and Hong Kong as the kind of jump off point for all of Asia. So what you do with that will be different based on your business models, but I even see software investment starting to come out here. It's undeniable the reach and the access that you have in terms of population, buying power with Indonesia, with Japan, South Korea, China. You can't deny these markets anymore, because as you've seen with Facebook and other companies, they've actually hit their sort of saturation points in a lot of ways, and they have to find ways to come out here now. You can't deny that you need that user base. So
a couple of years ago, there was not much of a startup scene, but in the last 3, 4, 5 years, it literally exploded. The co-working spaces here went from 0 to like literally 100 different companies doing co-working spaces, and students get more interested in startups, and just this whole ecosystem is coming up over the last few years, and especially in the realm of hardware, it's you know, very promising that it will have a lasting impact on the startup scene in the entire world.
it's a no-brainer. It has a major role to play. And I always tell people that I came from San Francisco, but I'm not leaving Hong Kong until this becomes the IoT capital of the world, because it has to be.
We want to nail the right product and the right feature set and the right industrial design and the right positioning. We're doing a lot of A/B testing on Facebook. So we are actually validating our features, whether we should do voice recognition, for example. This is something we are right now validating. We think it's a cool feature, but we're not sure that customer will really love it. So what we do is we run Facebook ads with a product shot and with the first alarm clock you'll be able to talk to. Let's say, wake me up at 7 a.m. with my Spotify playlist, whatever.
I think right now, in the next 12 months, our focus is validating our main core algorithm, which is providing an advanced warning of a cardiac arrest. And also, we're also working on other features like stress level detection. Stress is something that impacts everybody, and it is also a major trigger of a heart attack, and that's why we're focused on that. So it's more on lifestyle behaviors that we're also trying to target. After the next 12 months to, well, 12 to 16 months, then we can decide, hey, do we want to be a licensing play and we want to license our algorithm to other wearable device companies, or do we want to go down the software hardware route of creating our own wearable, and then that branches off, are we going to be B2B or are we going to be B2C? But we can decide that after the next 12 months.
We have an early design here that we are constantly improving, and to do that we're talking to a lot of people, at Brinc, to a lot of people of our friends, and we are asking, what do you think, what do you like, what you don't like, and this is how we are iterating.
Things I learned, or one of the mistakes we made specifically, is we didn't spend enough time to really understand the world of e-commerce, because when we launched on crowdfunding, we were so in the world of product development that we sort of neglected that part a little bit. So you really need to spend a long time also understanding your audience, how to talk to their audience, what's the industry standard, and besides that, yeah, like just things like the copywriting, the positioning of your brand, the design, all of these things just not only need to look nice, but they really need to match a certain, they need to push the right buttons in your audience. You know, if you do your homework and you have a great product, you work really hard, you have the positioning right, you're not gonna fail. And then it's just amazing. You get so much feedback from your customers, so you can still incorporate that to a certain degree in product development. You can finance, as a hardware company, your first production batch, and you can show also resellers, retailers, distributors, and potential investors that there's actually a market for what you do very early on. So you can find business partners to work with thanks to the success on crowdfunding. The first thing about the crowdfunding campaign that surprised me approaching it was that how professional they are being done nowadays. From the outside, it always looked like a miracle. You see like a bunch of guys put their ideas on the website and they get $1 million, and it's like, wow, like how does that work, right? But it's not like that at all. It's not like overnight whatsoever. It's many months of preparation leading up to those campaigns, and a lot of hard work. So there are professional press, PR companies who prepare for that. There are service providers, they do nothing but crowdfunding campaigns. There are social media, digital marketing consultants, they do nothing but crowdfunding campaigns. The Facebook advertising budgets of some of these campaigns are hundreds of thousands of dollars, literally. That's what's going on there. So it's very much a business. Very serious business. There are not many cons to crowdfunding. Maybe one con would be if you fail on crowdfunding, you fail very publicly. So it's definitely, if you want to raise money from an investor after a failed crowdfunding campaign, it's going to be very hard. So that's a little bit scary.
Distribution is a very good question. It's a very hard problem for consumer electronics, but you can't achieve volumes if you're not going retail. You can't sell only on internet. It doesn't work. Internet is like 10% of all the volume, so you have to go retail. The
next challenges are actually fulfilling the orders that we have received. So in total, we already sold over 2,500 devices in pre-orders, which was around $200,000 US in revenues. So now we need to ship them, which is another whole big project in itself, because we have over 50 countries we need to ship products to. We have 2,500 different people that now expect to get their packaging, so that's actually not that easy if you haven't never shipped a single packaging before, right? Once we have that done, which is actually in 4 weeks, then we will go into the world of retail and distribution. So that's the next goal. Now that we have the product, we want to have it in every brick and mortar store, in every online store all over the world, and we want them to carry our product.
Ultimately, our vision is to create a beautiful product that enables people to remotely monitor their vital signs, so remotely monitor their health and adjust their behaviors accordingly due to our smart insights. That's our ultimate goal. We want to be in the preventive healthcare space, meaning that you don't go to the hospital when you are normal. You go there when you are sick. So we want to go in that opposite direction of creating products that enable people to monitor their health from day one, from a young age as well. I think that's the ultimate vision.
It's a no-joke product, but also a personalized coach to help waking you better, earlier, snooze less. Did you know that an average American guy wastes 4 months of his life snoozing? So that's what we're trying to fix here.
The musician, you know how fast you want to play a song, and you want to play steady and always on the same tempo. So musicians today, they use a click sound of a metronome. This is this mechanical device to follow the rhythm. The problem is it's very, very intrusive and very annoying. Every musician knows that. It's like an instrument of torture almost. So what this does is, instead of listening to the rhythm, it allows you to feel the rhythm, which makes way more sense.
The product is called Aumeo Audio. What it does is it is the world's first technology and device, patent protected, that can quickly and accurately measures each and every one of us' hearing, left and right ears, low, mid, high tones. And once we have that parameter, which has never been measured before, we can use it to reshape audio to best fit each person's hearing, kind of like glasses for your ears.
IoT is coming in a massive way. I mean, in a way that I don't think anyone understands, really, even us sometimes, just how big this is going to be. So in short term, 2 years from now, we're going to see wearables will definitely be adopted. It's coming, it's staying, it's not going anywhere. I don't think the body necessarily will be taken over. I think it'll be lots of wrist-based wearables. I think shoes are obvious, belts are obvious, hats. I think glasses are challenging. I think fingers are challenging. I think things that are more intimate are challenging. I think the wrist has already been won. I think this is possible. But that's really just the beginning. I do believe, and I really hope that in the next 2 years, we'll start seeing what we call the promise of IoT, which is why we're doing this in the first place, which is not to track our steps. It's to add deep insight that makes our lives better. So our sort of motto at Brinc is improving life. And it's not about buying more of these devices. It's the data it gives us. And I think we're gonna start seeing, it won't be the best yet, but I think we're gonna start seeing early aspects of the next level of IoT in the next 2 years, which will be correlating your sleep data, your track data, your hydration data, your heartbeats, your heart rhythms, your lung capacities and oxygenation levels. This will actually help us understand ourselves better and do something about it. I think in 5 years, I don't think people believe this, but I think it's coming. I think we're gonna see some of the first new materials coming into the real world. So nanotechnologies, smart cement, things that people have already invented that need to get to some bigger corporations to adopt them first before the prices can become reasonable. Because similar to smartphones spawned the entire IoT industry. Because all the manufacturing and all the resources like the sensors and the underlying technologies were made so cheap from how many smartphones were made, so we can quickly repurpose for these types of technologies. But these new technologies are going to need time. And I think, based on the research I've done and the experts that we talk to, that in the next 5 years, we should really see the beginning of new materials. So smart fabrics, sensors that can live or distributed in cement and the streets and the walls, and it's not going to happen in mass scale yet, but I think we'll see commercial applications. So I always say in 10 years, I think we will profoundly have a different world than we have today, and in 20 years, we probably won't recognize almost anything. And I think it's super exciting. I mean, it's coming whether people want it to or not, so I just encourage people to get excited and learn about it and participate.
For myself, this is signed by Apple co-founder Steve Wozniak. I call it the Wozmeo.